little threaded area right here, this is what your finger goes on, like that. See that? And that's very comfortable to hold on to. For a newbie, this is a really comfortable glass cutter. And then
the screw side goes down on the silver
the screw side goes down or faces you on the Silversnit 4000. If you happen to get one of the brass handle cutters, this is a different type of cutter. This is the brass handle. This has a different head on it. I don't like this head, and that's why I don't use it. But your best bet, your next best bet cost-wise, is going to be the fixed head. And I forgot to show y'all something about this cutter last week.
You're going to show it this week.
I am. And but this has the finger rest on it here, like this. And this head is fixed, so it does not depress. And when we're talking about cutting glass, when we depress our head, this is all the pressure that we need in order to score the glass. So when we get back and we get back into glass chat, we're going to talk a little bit about a lot of different things. But these are the two cutters that I would recommend if you're getting started. I think that you'll find that they're both very comfortable. And I brought our Silversnits. These are the original running pliers here. And so first of all, let's talk about this. This is how simple. This is how simple that head pops out, and you can see the hole. And these can be replaced very easily. You order these separate as a kit, and they come in and they're replacements. Same way with the bottom. It just comes right out, and then it fits right in. Now remember, while you're using these Silversnit running pliers, you have to remember that the round button is the bottom and the rectangular button is the top. So let's grab a pretty piece of glass here, and let's square a piece of glass up first. Let's see what we got. Oh, I'm going to grab this. This is a beautiful bullseye. Now remember, this is 3 millimeter. It's 1/8 of an inch thick. And we're going to take this. Let's get a cutter. Now this is going to be the viewer that asked about a cutter. This is the cheapest cutter that you can buy. That's a pencil grip. It has a TC10 head on it, and it's fiberglass. What you have to worry about is the fiberglass cracking because it's threaded up inside of it. So this is not a cutter that I'm going to recommend for somebody that's just learning how to cut glass, because it's not going to do exactly what you need it to do. However, I'm going to grab my Silversnit 4000. And this is made by Boll, and Boll is a German company that has many more things to do with glass than just cutters. But their cutters, I always say that the German engineering, just like their cars, is top notch. So their cutter is top notch. So here we go. We're going to take this and we're going to make sure that we have the right side. And we're going to, as you can see, I have the screw to the back. I'll turn that sideways so you can see it. I'm going to push down. And remember, when I'm cutting patterns, or when you're cutting patterns, the easiest way to do that and to see your line, okay, let's do this. Whoops. Some of you may cut just like that. I don't know. So we're going to try this right here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to score this, and I'm going to push down. Now listen, I'm going to depress the head. Okay, and now we're just going to take our time. When you're scoring a pattern, it's kind of like driving a car. Okay, so I finished up here, and I'm going to take my Silversnits, and we're going to start this run, and hopefully we're going to start it so that it doesn't run out all the way, and we're going to start, and you will hear it pop, and when we do, we'll stop. Okay, so we heard it pop. Now we can see we can see that run right there, and it stopped, okay? So now your silver schnitt grouse or running pliers have a pretty deep throat on them. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna adjust the top head, and I'm gonna come directly behind that run, and tonight I'm gonna make sure, so if I move around a little bit before we do anything, I'm trying to make sure that I'm staying in the camera because it's much easier for y'all to see. So remember, our run is right here. I've adjusted the top head on my silver schnitz, and I'm going to drop in. Dropping in means I'm going to put my pliers behind the score, and I'm going to squeeze a little bit harder. Just like that. Okay, so now my score has run to right there. See that? I'm going to drop in. I'm going to turn my head just a little bit more, and I'm going to squeeze again because I'm behind the run. Okay, now I watched that move, and it's right there now. Okay, so now I want to come in, and I'm getting in behind that run again, right here. I've turned my head almost perfectly 90 degrees to the plier. I'm going to move my hand out of the way because you can't see. And now I'm going to squeeze a little bit harder. Here comes the run. See it? Watch it go. Hang on. There we go. See it? And now I'm going to come in. I'm going to drop in behind it again. And I'm chasing the run. This is what I mean by chasing the run. See that? I'm chasing the run. Now, this is completely broken. And what I want to do is I'm going to turn my head back so that it's perfectly 90 degrees. I'm going to come in, I'm going to come right on top of this. We'll hear it break again, and it should drop completely off. There we go, just like that. Okay? So there you have it. That is how you chase a run with the silver schnitt running pliers. So now we're going to talk a little bit about tapping, because those of you that do tap, I'm going to show you what it does each time that you tap. And you know, this cutter works really good for this too. So we'll just take and we're going to tap this. Okay, so I've got my run started. See it right there? We're going to go up. So when I tapped that, I tapped it so hard that it just completed the run. Most of the time, but I want you to see this. You see that flare right there? Hang on. There it is right there. See that flare right there? That comes from tapping. And there's another one right there that's from tapping. And once I tapped it here so hard, it went ahead and ran out. But look what it did. It left me another flare right there. See that? Y'all, these things are sharper than a single-edged razor blade and will ruin your day. So remember, this is a bullseye. This is just so what we're gonna do here is we're gonna cut a straight line, and we're gonna use our grousers and try and take off 1/4 of an inch off of this. Okay. So remember, I finished on this end, so I'm turning it around. I'm going to grab this with my running pliers. Try not to ever grab it right on the very edge, because it won't break correctly, and it gives you a chip. So we can take this, but you see I'm putting my finger underneath of my grousers, and I'm going to be pulling down with this hand like this. Okay, here we go. And we're going to pull down and away. Down, and when I say away, this automatically pulls away. Down and away. Now, one thing that you're going to find when you cut 3mm glass and you take off a very narrow strip is you're going to find, and you can see this, I'll turn it sideways, okay? that it creates almost a flare from the front to the back. You see that angle? And that's what when I talk about how the glass breaks at angles, when you're breaking it, this is what happens. This is a very narrow piece of glass, but you get a flare. And your grinder, y'all, is what straightens this up. Boom. I mean, it just does such a great job with it.
But when you're grinding, it's zip, you're not
Right.
pushing.
And no, it's just zip. But if you end up with this edge here, see that? There we go. See that edge? It's an angle. See it? Your grinder will square that up and then make short work of it very quickly. So we're going to take this now and we're going to chase a run with our grousers. And we're going to come back here. And again, here we go. We're not going to grab it right here on the very end. We're going to grab it a little bit in. I'm going to put my knuckle. You see that? You see how that falls? I am not squeezing this glass, y'all. I'm going to put my knuckle underneath and my thumb right on top, just like this. And we're going to start that. We're going to start that run, just like that. And we're going to pull down, and then as soon as I pull down, it's away, just like that. Okay. So let's get a little bit bigger piece of glass, Barb, because these short pieces are only doing short runs. So let's do a long run and see what happens. Let's chase that thing and make it happen. We're going to put that in there. Let's pick out a really pretty piece of glass. This is another, oh, look at that. It matches my shirt, Barb.
Sure does.
Sure does. Okay, so first of all, let's learn how to use our square. So, because this piece of glass is so messed up, we're going to use our square and we're going to square this up. Now remember, I'm using my Silberschnitt 4000. The angle of this, you really, when you're cutting your glass, if I can turn sideways, that's about the angle that I have my glass cutter on, which is somewhere around 15 degrees, okay? So here we go. And I come off, and now what I want to do is I'm going to take my Silberschnitts, and I'm going to make sure that they're in the middle, because if they're to the left or the right, I'm going to get a flare. So we're going to depress the head, pull down, and there we go. Now, I want you to see this. There is not a flare there. Why? Because my Silberschnitts were dead center, okay? So let's do a score. Let's do a score where I can run this, and I'm going to offset the pliers so that they're actually on the glass wrong, and let's see what happens. Okay, so it's still going to work where it pulls down like that, but watch what happens. Okay, if you're running pliers, that's pretty good. That's pretty good flare I just created. That thing right there will ruin you. See that? And that's because my running pliers weren't centered on my score. It created a flare. So that, what does that mean? That means that you need to do some grinding. So let's try that again, except this time I'm going to move it to the other side, and we're going to create a flare on the opposite side. So right there is the middle, okay? And I'm going to go over here. See that? You see my score, and you see the center. Okay, here we go. So that ran that, okay? Let me get my grousers. You see this, it ran it. It was so far off to the side that it couldn't complete its job. So now we have to grab it with our grousers. We're going to put our knuckle underneath, and we're going to pull down and away. Down and away. You know why? Because you didn't want any part of that right there. Look at that. Look at that. You really don't want any part of that flare. Anyway, so the first thing I'm going to do, if I was doing this and this is the piece of glass that I need, except this piece of glass is going to be really funky looking, it's going to be pretty, and that's what I want it to look like right there. And so that'll be my pattern.
So
here
which piece are you going to keep?
I'm going to keep this piece right here. I'm going to take this out.
Okay.
Okay, and I think that's what Carol's looking for. So the first thing I'm gonna do, we're gonna whittle this down because I need to be able to get into it. Okay. So we're gonna turn this around. All right, that's got that. And so now we're gonna go right here. And we're gonna pull down and away. And then we'll clean that up just like that. Okay. So now what we want to do, y'all, I'm gonna switch up on my cutters. Let me grab my 2000 because I feel pretty comfortable with that one. So I'm gonna grab my 2000. So the whole idea here is I'd like to keep this piece if I could, okay? So this is gonna require me to do several different things. We're gonna be using our silver snits. And the main thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get this. So as you can see, when I'm cutting this glass, okay, so we're going to start out with our silver snits and we're going to run this bad boy around. Here we go. Okay. So now I'm going to come back the other direction and we're going to go back into it. Let's make sure that we have our silver snits exactly where we need them. So I've got a seed right here. I'm not sure if that's going to cooperate with me or not, but you know what? It's live television, y'all. Here we go. So we need a little bit of a run. Hopefully we're gonna jump right through that because I didn't pick up. So we want to make sure that we get that centered. Oh, I heard it go by the pot, by the crack that time. Yeah. So let's come over here. Now instead of turning the head each time, what I'm trying to do is turn the handle. Okay? Okay. So now I'm going to turn this over. We're going to relieve it a little bit.
There you go.
I'm sorry.
There you go.
I'm sorry. Okay, there's something's going on now. I'm upside down. Here we go. Okay, so now the very last thing to do, Carol, is this right here, hon.
Oh, can you hit it on the bottom?
No, it's ready to come out. It's just. By turning my running pliers, I've loosened it. I can move all of this. Okay? So because I'm not interested in this piece of glass right here, this is the best way for me to remove it. Okay? So the best way for me to remove this little tiny piece of glass is to do this. So if I take a cutter, and these are both what I call, these are both brand new cutters. I mean, I haven't used them enough to cut enough glass to take the flare out of them. But if I push down, and I'm not gonna use an expensive cutter. I'll use a cheap cutter and show you the difference. Okay, here we go. This is just your basic. This cutter will run you somewhere around $21 if you purchase it at a brick and mortar store. So anyway, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my square right here. And I'm gonna push down way too hard. Ready? Is that it? Okay, good. I'm gonna get my hand out of the way. Now see, that because this is a TC10, the screw goes forward because the angle is facing me. Here we go, too hard. Now, if you're standing on your glass like that you're pushing too hard, you might as well just get you a bunch of cutters and stack them up because eventually you're gonna need them. So here's the thing.
And you can see that.
You can see that. Look at that. This is what I call a rooster tail. The glass is actually flaking up behind it. Here we go. I'm gonna do that again. Too hard. Here we go. If you're standing on your glass cutter like that, that is way, way too hard. So let's break this. And once we get it broken, I'm gonna show you what that edge looks like. It's not pretty. It looks like somebody chewed it. Okay? It's not pretty at all. Look at that. See that? If you're pushing that hard and getting this on the edge of your glass, you're pushing down on your cutter way too hard. Let's break it. Look at this. Look at how the glass is flaking. See that? Okay? You're pushing way, way, way too hard, y'all. Don't do that. So let's get rid of this. Let me show you this edge. Well, that even scared me. Look at that edge, okay? Right there, see it? It's pretty bad. So now, if I take my cutter, same cutter, nothing different about it, it's just I was pushing really hard. Here we go, you ready? I'm gonna push forward because it's easier for everybody to see. Here we go. Oh, you can hear the difference, you can smell the difference. Here we go. So I'm going to make sure your running pliers are turned correctly. And here we go. Y'all, that's a beautiful edge on a piece of glass right there. Just like that. Okay, see that? And see that? See the difference? So what this little, what I call paddle is for. Normally you would take, if this were a little bit bigger piece, this is exactly what you would do. So you put that in the center of your score. Don't put it left or right, and you just push down.
There you go.
And then pull it away, just like that. Down and pull it away. And so this little trick is used in cutting much thicker glass than this. But this cutter is designed for the guy that works in the shop in a commercial glass studio where he's cutting glass all day long. And this, y'all, believe it or not, man, you can rock with some plate glass and some 3/16 with this. Actually, and a lot of times when I first did this, and remember, just because this head doesn't depress, pretend that it does, and 8 to 10 pounds of pressure. Down, score. Hang on, I'm trying to find there it is.
Okay.
I'm gonna find my score right there, just like that. And we're gonna push down, ready, and away. Just like that.